we are a front runner to sales. It's not equal footing or equal position in the race to create revenue. Our job is to make their lives easier.
I really think that right now, mastering AI, at least understanding how to become like literate, how to become a prompt engineer in a lot of ways, will ultimately help marketers like take the next step. Hi everyone, welcome back to Demand Decoded. Dan with you as usual, joined by Phil in the studio today, and we're discussing the skills that marketing leaders need today, but that nobody is training, they haven't been taught, but are essential right now. Most marketers are promoted into leadership roles because of what they know, but increasingly the job of being a marketing leader demands so many skills that they haven't been trained for. Nobody is teaching. They haven't been like taught through theory, etc. And in this episode, we're going to break down this core set of skills that we think separate those real high performing marketing leaders that we see right now from those that are kind of like stalling and struggling in some ways to actually keep up with what's happening right now. So we've got a few topics to go through, and hopefully it will be interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like you say, there's a difference between doing marketing and leading marketing within a business where there are other groups of stakeholders and customers and internal customers and so on. So there's definitely a additional set of skills that are required as you get promoted, as you move up. Also, because of changes that are going on around us that are introducing new skills, and yeah, they can be the stumbling blocks. They can get in the way of progress and impact once you're at that level, because it's so key to be able to navigate the landscape when you're there. So yeah, interesting topic. Let's dig in.
Before we get into the podcast today, here's a quick word from our sponsors, HubSpot. Nobody likes a spoiler, unless it's your customers telling you exactly what they need. But too bad most businesses miss out on these signals. The hints dropped in emails, the messages hidden in call logs and chats, all of it's just trapped in unstructured data. But with HubSpot, you get all of this data in one place. Their customer platform brings together the insights you need to grow your business. And spoiler alert, the more you know, the more you grow. Visit HubSpot.com today to find out more. The first thing to talk about, which I don't think will be any surprise, but I've spoken to so many marketers recently that are just asking questions really about how we are running the kind of AI orchestration that we have going on, and how we've become so like literate and comfortable with engineering AI engines, basically.
It's very kind of people to say
yeah,
about us.
Well, I think when we show our extensive uses of Claude and the projects going on, when I show people Ask Elephant, it's like, how do you do that? And I really think that right now, mastering AI, at least understanding how to become like literate, how to become a prompt engineer in a lot of ways, will ultimately help marketers like take the next step to turn themselves and people in their business and their processes, like reduce headcount, increase efficiency, and ultimately provide gains to the business.
Yeah, it's a massive topic, isn't it? And I can fully understand. Well, no, it is daunting at times, sort of looking at AI as a broad issue and thinking about the magnitude of changes that are happening, the pace of those changes, the implied achievements of others compared to our own. There's so much to think about. But I do have good news for people, which is that AI literacy is not out of reach, actually. It's not always as complicated as it might seem or appear. There are ways to get started that will put you on a track that makes you feel like you're building your literacy quickly, I think. But yeah, I mean, a big, topic, a mountain to climb in some respects. So it's no surprise that there's, consternation out there.
Yeah, what you do with AI right now is directly impacting your effectiveness when it comes to go-to-market throughout
Indeed.
everything you do. So I think, yeah, that's why we're talking about this one first, because it is so important.
Yeah, 10 years ago, we would have said that the essential skill for marketers was data literacy.
Yeah.
Being able to look at analytics, being able to look at, spreadsheets and reports and work with the findings. That's still true. That's a key requirement. This is a new skill set of that kind, ushered in by technological change and biobehavior change, and it puts it right at the top of the list going forward.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a bit about like your process of learning, exploring like AI orchestration tools and becoming like very fluent with creating hundreds of, projects and workflows for us essentially as well inside Blend?
Yeah, I mean, happy to share everything. It's interesting because, don't necessarily feel like I'm that far ahead of others, but nevertheless, I think I do feel that the challenge perhaps isn't as big as some others feel it might be because of the progress we've made.
Yeah.
First of all, we're not trying to develop AI, platforms and products.
Yeah.
So that's good news. We haven't got to work out the way to build these things. We have to work out how to use them. And there is a constant feed of news and updates, and there is a need to simply consume what you can to keep up to speed with changes, because some will, materially affect you, quickly and give you new ways to employ the technology. So it's important to be up on what's changing and going on. But in terms of how we've gone about it, there's a few, I think, principles that are worth applying, and we're not the first to say these, but I think we buy into them, which is it's easy to listen to what's being said online and what people are talking about on YouTube and think that you've got to aim for the sort of moon in terms of sophistication, complexity, radical revamp of process, orchestrated solutions. And, yes, working towards those sorts of goals is what we want to do, but it begins elsewhere. I think it was Dharmesh that said fill potholes, don't build bridges, or fill potholes first, build bridges later.
Yeah.
I think that was his inbound talk. And, he was saying there, like, in order to get comfortable with AI, but also deliver value, solve small problems first, tackle things that are immediate and in front of you and use them to learn AI and use them to prove AI internally and in your business, and fix problems that are present and visible and tangible in their own right before moving on to loftier goals and ambitions. And there's a lot of sense in that. One, because any project is best broken down into chunks, right? There's an old book that I love called Chunk It or Junk It, and it talks about managing projects smartly through turning big, ambitious, lofty goals into sensible steps. And that is always the best way to reach a goal, over a period of time. So taking it step by step is always sensible. But within the AI era, within the AI world, there's another advantage of that, which is, one, AI is changing rapidly, and so tackling small things allows you to sort of do it iteratively and build in some of the improvements as they happen and not be locked out of them all. Although I think there is there will come a time where you have to call something done and sort of say, well, for now, that is the nature of it, and we are going to lock out future improvements, but we can come back to it in the future. But also within AI, the loftier goal, the building the bridge, requires really the concatenation of AI processes, the orchestration of multiple AI processes. And AI is so variable in what you get out based on how you prompt it and how you use it, that it's not safe to connect multiple AI processes into an orchestrated solution until you've proven that the individual steps are sound and that the output from one is reliable enough to act as the input to another every time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you've got no orchestration. You've just got a random series of events connected over which you have no real control of the end result. And so that step-by-step process where you fill a pothole first, prove a solution, and do that multiple times will help you get to the point where orchestration not only feels sort of doable, and you understand how you might do it, but also it's feasible and you can actually build something which will drive business value because the outputs are predictable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like the pothole analogy. I think it was Dharmesh that said that, and I've just written down an extension of that for our own analogy. I think so. Most people are at this stage where they're not even using like Claude projects or custom GPTs, etc. They're simply in the chats.
Yes, exactly.
Of large language models, trying and doing great work, getting what they can out of these chats. But when it comes to filling potholes, a pothole I see is like a part of a process. It's like a micro strand of a process that is like really irritating. It takes you loads of time. It can be like easily outsourced basically to an AI if it is created in the right way.
Yeah.
So then you fill your potholes. Then you've got like resurfacing a whole road, like laying your tarmac. That is like then
connecting those potholes together.
Yeah, it's like the single strand of a process. Like maybe not the entire process, but it's a strand of it.
Yep.
You're taking the micro potholes and you're saying, actually, you know what? We filled all those potholes now. They're starting to break again. Like, the frost has come around. We need to re-tarmac it.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, go on.
And then you start building bridges between those pieces of road. And that's where you're connecting one system to another system.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it like that.
But then you've got actually creating like the road network, the highway network, where you've got junctions and you've got like other bridges coming into like your tarmac and your other road systems. And that's like complete AI orchestration there, where you have multiple systems all connected together. A lot of people are like thinking, where on earth do I start? Because they're seeing people on YouTube and LinkedIn who are at the point of building bridges or creating road networks. Most organizations don't need to be there right now.
No, quite.
Because there is so much efficiency gain just in filling potholes, just in like resurfacing roads right now. And like you said earlier, once you start doing those things, once you start actually getting efficient at building Claude projects, for example, understanding how you build a knowledge base inside of Claude, how you actually create custom instructions to get exactly what you can, like start building artifacts to get like visual elements for you. It's like, okay, you really start to understand how you can like manipulate these tools to work for you.
Yeah, how you can configure them to do tasks for you repeatedly to the same standard, and then how you can start to connect those, across a larger challenge or set of tasks. It's really interesting to learn by doing that and start to see how you can manage the quality of the output, operate within context window limits. One of the very real, just sort of boring reasons for taking a sort of piecemeal approach to it is because, well, there's two actually. One, there's always a context window limit beyond which you can't expect the one, conversation to be able to achieve the output. So that's required us to break up certain processes, just to operate with insight within that, and then also to be able to fix the output reliably. And with AI, typically speaking, sort of the further away the objective, the higher the chance that it will go wrong somewhere, the outcome is off. So by narrowing the scope down, you make it much, much easier to create projects that produce reliable quality outputs, again and again, which you can then feed into the next one and again and carry on. And then that will just help you to deliver value whilst also building your competence and helping you to think about what the next level up looks like in terms of connecting either strands within or systems without.
That's where you get into your software like NA10. We use Ask Elephant, which is I think is a combination of building bridges but also road networks as well in terms of that functionality.
There's always a sort of systems either have hubs or sort of constellations, so you typically have a tool which operates as the sort of aggregator to some degree, and then they will have MCPs that connect them to other systems to pull in and push out data. It usually doesn't take the form of like a single line of integration. There's normally a hub at the center of it, or several hubs, to really get the results, because you need something that operates in a consistent way across different data types and sets, and then can reach out to those when it needs them. So that's probably where I see people go in that direction.
All right, shall we move on?
Before we do, if people are, you said at the start, lots of people are still opening up Claude or ChatGPT, asking it questions, and probably having the same experience that we've all had, which is it's at times amazing, and then it at times falls quite short of what's required. So if people want to move themselves up to the next level, then there are sort of 3 pieces of advice I would give them, which is certainly within the Claude project context, which is such a powerful tool. Knowledge is brilliant in those projects, but my approach is not to simply gather documents that I think are relevant and chuck them in. I quite often analyze those things beforehand to create knowledge assets that are condensed and refined so they consume less context, but optimized for the task at hand. So like ask ChatGPT or Claude to review a web page, but boil it down to key principles. That's brilliant for documentation and strategy and processes. Take documents that you've got, but review them first with AI to extract findings and frameworks and formulas, and then use that as your knowledge. That's a power play. You get a lot more out of your capacity if you do that. I think everybody needs to build a prompt writing prompt, because the prompt you write yourself into a ChatGPT window will never be anywhere near good enough to create the consistently structured and reliable outputs that we rely on. The prompts that generate that are huge, and they have steps to follow, guidelines, rules, risks to be aware of, formats, examples, just tons of stuff. And like every prompt should basically contain that level of detail. So people need to get on that one. And then my personal favorite, and I hesitate, but no, I'm going to give it away. My personal favorite is research to do research. Deep research is phenomenal in AI, but only if you prompt it correctly. Figure out what makes a good research prompt. It's not that dissimilar to any other prompt. It's structure, it's rules, it's what the output needs to be and what the format it needs to take, and build something to create those prompts for you before you even turn on deep research. Those 3 things alone will take anybody who feels like AI is all ahead of them to the point where they feel pretty damn good as a prompt engineer at getting AI to do tasks repeatedly for them.
Yeah.
So
Sound advice, that.
I hope that gives people something to go and try if they haven't already.
Yeah.
Um,
And let us know how it goes.
yeah, do, yeah, because they're really great. They've really, really, really helped us, advance our knowledge of what's possible and create those repeatable solutions.
Yeah. I just want to interrupt the show to bring you another podcast on HubSpot's podcast network called Marketing School. If you need practical marketing strategies that actually work, Marketing School from the HubSpot podcast network is essential listening. Hosts, as you'll know, Neil Patel and Eric Sue, give you daily 10 to 15-minute episodes packed with actionable tactics from their own marketing experience, building and scaling multiple companies. In their recent episode on AI in marketing, they explain why your customers can switch AI tools faster than you think and how that changes the way you need to position and market your own products. Not your typical episode you'd expect, but packed with insights and unexpected learnings that you can take into your own business. There's daily insights, real results. Listen to Marketing School wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening to this right now, you're probably doing what every other B2B marketer is doing, asking, how do I get my brand cited in ChatGPT? How do I show up in Gemini, Perplexity, Claude? And at Blend, we help you do exactly that. We engineer visibility in AI search for B2B companies. We build the content, implement the technical optimization, and track your performance across every major AI platform. So when buyers are researching solutions like yours, your brand gets recommended. We know how to engineer visibility in AI search because we built a framework and proved it on ourselves first. And this took months of experimentation, but in the end it delivered 470 high-value prompt appearances, 80% citation rate across prompts, and 250% more AI-sourced leads. We proved the framework, and now we're starting to roll it out across customers who are seeing similar results. So, if you want to dominate AI search in your category, visit blendb2b.com to learn more about our AI search services. Section 2, commercial and financial acumen. This is something that some marketers do have, depending on what they studied, how they actually fell into marketing. But a lot of marketers learn the tactical stuff first that kind of makes you a good marketer at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and the commercial and financial acumen lag. And I look to my own kind of experience in this, and absolutely still working on commercial and financial acumen. This is a stumbling block that helps you unlock other skills as well. Like talking about skills like saying no to people, like decision making. These are really, really important, crucial skills to have, but are centered around having really good commercial and financial acumen, and also being able to prove the effectiveness of marketing, being able to speak the same language as the CEO, as the CFO, as the board, translating what you see in terms of marketing strategies, tactics, and broader marketing views into language they get.
Yeah. Making any decision requires a framework. And saying no to something is a decision, right? It's a very particular kind of decision that marketers will, no doubt resonate with deeply, but it's a decision. And the framework that you use has to allow you to make the decision in the face of external, pressures sometimes. So when it comes to saying no to things as a marketer, that can often be hard because the framework that supports that decision to say no either isn't present, or if it is present, doesn't meet the requirements of the person or stakeholder group making the request.
Yeah.
So you can have a framework, but it can be the wrong framework, which is why it rolls up to commercial and financial, knowledge and literacy again, ultimately. You're absolutely right. And it is really interesting to me now I think about it that, as you say, a lot of marketers will, learn by doing, will have marketing educations. Not all do. They'll have tactical knowledge. They'll be familiar with tools and channels,
good operators,
stuff like that. Exactly. But it won't teach you the commercial and financial language or way to think. even if you study marketing strategy, I'm reflecting now on some of the sort of like the critical texts that I read back in the day when I wanted to get into this field.
Yeah.
Like, even they don't talk about pipeline and
You got the
convert,
P's,
cost per
yeah.
customer and margin and things like that. So it really is easy to come up without acquiring that set of skills.
Yeah. And I think this is a really crucial thing that I've been working on learning, to expand the view of marketing just beyond, we spoke about this on an episode, it was a while ago, but the difference between marketing and marketing communication.
Yes, indeed.
And marketing has such an opportunity to impact the entire business, but so often it's just pigeonholed into marketing comms and what we do to ultimately generate demand and communicate with the market.
Yeah.
But actually, when you think of the 8 stages of a growth life cycle and how you go all the way from product market fit to expansion of accounts, marketing can impact all 8 stages, the entire cycle. And I think having good sound understanding of commercial and business financials allow you to see where you can deploy marketing resource and capital in the best areas to impact the business in the best ways.
Yes.
It's not just generating net new customers. In fact, most of the time it's not that at all.
Right. It's a really interesting topic, and it blows my mind a little bit how when you start to pull the thread of what marketing is, you end up sort of realizing that in a way it's the whole business actually, and that's not to diminish the importance of operations, production,
Absolutely,
human resources and capital, sales or marketing, but there is that run through, which is a business exists usually to deliver a product or service to a customer, and marketing thinking is a layer across every element of that, in order to leverage it to produce the outcome the business seeks. So yes, marketing has a big opportunity, a big role to play, across a whole business and its results. And marketing comms is a very important part of that business, but not the whole.
Yeah.
Love it. Another conversation that comes to mind led me to share the fact that I believe that to some extent it can help to reframe, even as marketers and marketing leaders, it can help to reframe marketing. There's often a tension between marketing and sales in an organization. There isn't a clarity always of, the relative importance of them. And you'll find that some businesses are led by people or have, C-level people who think marketing is, the most important thing, or and some will think sales is. I'm of the view that the only reason to do marketing comms is to make it easier to sell. And so we do serve sales in a way. We are a front runner to sales. It's not equal footing or equal position in the race to create revenue. Our job is to make their lives easier and make the business's goals achievable. And I think commercial, financial thinking helps to bring about that perspective and remind us that revenue and pipeline creation is our unified goal, but in many organizations achieving that goal will require that marketing makes the job of sales easier.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, well, not the flip side, but in addition to that, marketing should also make the job of customer success.
Well, quite.
easier.
And there you're absolutely right. Once you've started the process of change of realizing that, you can help sales, you're dead right. You can help customer success and, growth. And the responsibility goes both ways, right? Those two functions need to feed back to one another and to marketing in order to make marketing better at helping them. That flow is so often absent, right? And that's not solely marketing leadership's fault. That's a higher level issue that needs to be resolved. But I think marketers can drive the required change if they are able to talk to leadership in financial terms and demonstrate how different behaviors in the business could produce the growth outcomes that leadership wants ultimately.
Yeah, I just think, and Josh and I have spoken about this numerous times on the podcast, about that language understanding, just being able to resonate with the CEO, with the board, with the CFO in their language is so important. And some things that have helped me is just like learning how to read a P&L.
Yeah.
Like, I think every marketing leader should know how to read a P&L. They should be able to look at it, feel comfortable with it, and draw insight from it straight away.
Absolutely. Completely agree. It's an extension of the budgeting exercise, really. The closer you bring the thinking between the two teams, the more effective you're going to be. It's fascinating how many marketing conversations never lead to pipeline, never lead to business KPIs. And to some extent, I feel like nearly all conversations should lead to the business KPIs. Marketing should measure itself in relative to business KPIs, which I think itself is a challenging notion to swallow, because on the one hand, we're known for saying that the best marketing isn't necessarily the most measurable marketing, right? And yet we're saying measure yourself by business KPIs, but those two things are not equivalent, right? Marketing is to some extent not all performance-based measurable marketing. Not if you want to grow. Not if you want to grow business KPIs.
Yeah.
So there's no barrier to reviewing marketing's impact in the form of business KPIs and the ones that matter to CFOs, CROs, and CEOs. There's no barrier to that in the fact that some of the marketing that you do won't produce direct, trackable, measurable signals.
Yeah.
But we've long said that thinking and aligning around and talking in terms of revenue and pipeline created is one of the biggest unlocks for marketing leadership going forward.
Yeah. One thing that I've seen that's quite interesting is, like, going back to our original point around AI, I think once you have a solid understanding, ultimately you need to have an understanding of business and financial acumen to do this, but actually using a Claude project to check your thinking. If you are doing a quarterly report for the board, well, create a Claude project that is like mimicking the board. What would the board think about this? What questions would they ask? Like, does it hit the right notes for them?
Yeah. That is absolutely a golden opportunity and an application of AI. Claude in Excel, for example, that's another killer application that you can use to help you understand while you're getting to grips with this. This will, for many, uncover the disconnects and data gaps that exist internally, which is another sort of area that marketers have to think about, which is, as soon as you start trying to talk in terms of customer acquisition, customer retention, growth, lifetime value, all those financial metrics, it pretty quickly becomes clear what data you're lacking and what systems connections are missing. And that's another big challenge for marketers. And I feel like quite often marketers are the only ones really that are banging their heads against some of those. But the availability of that data is crucial. And okay, a spreadsheet will do for a time, but if you can get your systems connected so that you can measure it, that is a very important sort of battle to wage, really, internally. And I see a lot of resistance and obstacles put in front of people who are trying to get the essential data flowing, but it's a key area.
Yeah. Well, that is basically the next section, which is like, no, it's a good segue in, like, technology and data.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ultimately. Like, so many marketers are fantastic at understanding, like, what event we should go to, how we should be presenting ourselves there, how we communicate with the market ultimately. But tying nicely into the commercial and financial acumen is actually like, how do we truly understand the impact of marketing across the business? How do we empower the business ultimately beyond marketing to function in the most efficient way possible? How do we bring our marketing ops, revenue ops, like our manufacturing ERP, how do we bring all of that together to get like a unified single view of everything we're doing to bring massive efficiency gains?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's so often, a gap that exists where, even when marketers are asked sometimes to operate in this way, because there are organizations that see this, need and potential.
Yeah.
Even when they're asked, it's not unusual for that to be, nearly impossible to do because of the silos that exist in the data and the gaps that exist in the data. Marketers are very good at, getting sort of platforms that give them data that they can analyze, but like in this sort of narrow context, right? We can all get website analytics, fine. Ad performance, fine. And a few others that slip my mind. But when that data is cross-platform, cross-process, cross-team, that's where the gaps start to appear.
On that, what we're not saying here is that marketers need to learn how to develop integrations between their CRM and their ERP. That is not what we're saying.
Not at all.
It's the understanding of why you need to do it and how you might go about like creating a plan to do it. Like marketers shouldn't be doing that. It's like it's not your job to create those integrations, but it is your job to understand the technology that is like at your disposal, and how you bring all of those things together, and ultimately then how you fight to get it like implemented in the business. If you understand the value of it, that's the important thing here, understanding why you should do it and the value of it, and being able to fight for the budget to do it.
Yeah. And another important thing that I would encourage people to do is make sure that, if there's buy-in then to create that kind of integration, the next critical step is to be at the table, be part of the group that defines it. I see a lot of issues occur when the need to integrate systems is identified and agreed, but then the design of that integration isn't always, led by the right group. And sometimes that integration gets built and it still doesn't provide the data that you need. I would encourage people to use their newfound AI literacy
and the commercial acumen
to like understand, again, not how to build an integration, but what that integration looks like in order to produce the results the business is after. Things are so often overcomplicated. They take too long to develop. Patience runs out. People rush. They end up with integrations that serve nobody's needs. They pass data between systems. How many conversations I've had with customers, potential customers, about integrations they can't trust or rely on, and I'm like, it's software. You should be able to trust it implicitly and rely on it always. So there's clearly something going wrong during the implementation, which I think marketers need to stay across. Now, AI and MCPs may bring around a new era of integration, which is far more flexible and manipulatable even after it's been installed. I'm looking forward to developments in that area. Could be very exciting. But right now the situation is you still have to design an integration so that it meets your needs.
Yeah.
And that's something that marketers, I think, should keep their finger on. Marketing leaders should keep their finger on so that they're not disappointed when they finally do get their way.
Yeah. It never fails to amaze me how many marketers can't see pipeline, can't see revenue, are just totally disconnected from it. Even still, I feel like we've spoken about this on the podcast like too many times now to bring it up again.
Yep.
But it's just it's just crazy. Every event that I go to, every meetup that I go to, I'm chatting to marketers that are like, "Oh yeah, we're working in HubSpot, but sales are working in Salesforce, and we don't really know what they're doing. Even if they've got an integration, it's probably shit. They probably actually can't get any meaningful value from it." And it's like, yeah, this is the connection of these three things. Like understanding if AI can help you, but that's more on the efficiency gains of your actual people and processes for now. Commercial acumen will help you understand why you need to see this ultimately, and the benefit that it has to the business, and how you make the business case for fixing this, and how you go about it.
Yeah. What you described to me is basically the human condition, right? There's no good reason that marketing shouldn't be able to see financial, commercial data. There's no good reason that if an integration exists, it shouldn't be reliable, dependable, trusted. And yet, we still have conversations all the time where both of those things are true. And it's maddening, isn't it? It's
crazy.
It's, as you say, marketing does need to sort of step up, or there's an opportunity for marketing to step up and begin influencing at the higher level, around the higher level objectives, to bring about, what they need to do to thrive in their role and help their business grow. It's crazy, but it's true. All the time, conversations about missing links between data, or links that can't be used because they don't work the way they should, or the way they're expected to.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
For sure. All right. Well, that was our 3 sections and categories. There were like a few in there that we touched on in amongst those as well.
Good.
So, should we wrap it up there?
All right. Yeah, I think if you work on those, you'll put yourself in a really good position to have a developing career, whilst achieving your business aims and objectives in what is a rapidly changing landscape, where it's more and more crucial that we are showing our value, ultimately, demonstrating our value, communicating clearly about it, and being in control.
Yeah, these will evolve as well, no doubt. Like, was AI a skill that marketing leaders were missing 5 years ago?
No, not at all.
There's just always, an evolution of skills that we ultimately have to stay on top of and become the pros at in the business, to be able to benefit everybody and you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. Let's wrap it up there. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Demand Decoded, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks all.
Before you go, if all you can think about right now is AI search and how buyers are using it to find products in your category, we should talk. At Blend, we've built a proven framework for answer engine optimization. We tested it on ourselves first and saw 470 high-value prompt appearances, 80% citation rate, and a whopping 250% increase in AI source leads. That's real high-intent leads who are finding us through AI search. We've since rolled it out to dozens of clients who are now seeing similar results. Our AI service engineers your visibility in ChatGPT, Perplexity, AI mode, Gemini through structured content, schema markup, and continuous optimization, and measurement through our partner Scrunch. If you want to show up when your buyers are asking AI tools for recommendations in your category, find out more about our AEO services at blendb2b.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.